Jeff, highest monthly payment you've ever seen?
$3,700.
I was working at Mazda and watching people get absolutely ripped off with their car finance every single day.
Tonight, it's never been more expensive to buy a new car. According to a report from Kelley Blue Book, the average price for a new vehicle has cracked the $50,000 mark for the first time ever.
So you already know what time it is. We have another de-influencing video talking about car payments. With $1,000 a month payments, 72 or 84 month term lengths, and the recent news that the average new car price just went over $50,000 each, we're only going to see these videos pop up on social media even more. We have a lot to go over today, along with comments from you guys from previous videos. So if you want to be featured on a future video, leave it in the comments down below. And let's start off with the high payments, but I want you to specifically pay attention to the wording they're using.
What kind of car do you drive?
Mercedes C300.
And how much is your monthly payment?
$920.
Ooh. Lorenza,
Yes.
what kind of car do you drive?
Chevy Tahoe.
And how much is your monthly payment?
$810.
Oh no.
I know.
Justin,
Hey,
what kind of car do you drive?
2018 Tacoma,
And how much is your monthly payment?
$496.
That's not bad. Hey Dustin,
Yeah,
what kind of car do you drive?
a Range Rover Velar,
And how much is your monthly payment?
$760.
That's not bad. What kind of car do you drive?
I drive a 2024 F-150.
And what's your monthly payment?
$1,000.
Oh no. That's the worst one today.
Okay, so now the $1,000 car payments are bad, which I agree, but if you're talking $500 or even $700 a month, oh, that's not bad anymore, apparently, right? That's exactly what these dealerships are trying to make you think, because these deals just keep getting worse and worse. The payments are only going up. Some of the comments, I don't want to drive a mortgage payment, 800 plus for a Chevy Tahoe. They're trying to normalize high car payments. Please stop. I don't trust any car salesperson with a car payment above $500. We have a screenshot right here. I'm nosy. Tell me your car payment so I feel better about mine. $640 a month because I just had to have a panoramic roof that I never opened. $692. Just bought myself a 2025 Camry Hybrid. I know overall it's more reliable than most of the other vehicles people purchase today, but still you're talking about $700 for a Camry now. $856 because I just had to have a third row. I have one child and he's 13 and he usually sits up front. A picture perfect example of the mom car. A giant school bus looking SUV when you don't have enough kids to fit all of the seats, but it doesn't matter, you're going to be paying that $856 for 72 months, even 84, not including the insurance. By the time the car is finally yours and not the bank's, you don't even want the car anymore. LMAO. And that's how people get into the cycle of car payments for the rest of their lives. Another one, you guys in the comments are making the worst financial decisions I've ever seen. Someone had to have a third row even though they had one kid, just talking about the comment previously. I also work for a dealership and there's a lot of payments around $1,200 out there, so they just keep upping it higher and higher. $500 used to be a high car payment, then it was $800, now it's $1,000, $1,200 apparently, so anything under, you're getting a good deal. Yeah, sure you are. You guys are paying rent for your cars, might as well just live in them because that's all we could afford anymore. I have a lease, a 2024 BMW X1, the smallest SUV you could get, $850 a month. I don't even think about my bill. Just like the mortgage, I need a car, I need a home, still gotta pay them, so you had to get the base model BMW though, right? $850 a month. Sounds to me like you're just paying for the badge on the front and back of the vehicle. $960 a month and $630 a month for insurance. $1,500 a month for a vehicle. Oh man, $1,260, but I pay $1,400 just to knock off a couple of payments for a Tesla Model S. They must have gotten a Plaid, right? Even though they have heavily depreciated since they came out a few years ago. $781 for a 2025 Toyota GR86. $1,075, and I'm a financial advisor. Whoops. $1,897, and that's with 10% down, a 2025 F350. $2,000 a month. I hope at least it's a legitimate work truck. $598 for a 23 Kia Soul. A lot more than I wanted. Negative equity brought me into it. I mean, this keeps going on and on. There's almost 40,000 comments on this video, but we could just move on.
I was working at Mazda and watching people get absolutely ripped off with their car finance every single day. Customers would come in needing a car loan, and we had to mark up their interest rates by 2% just because it was legal so the company could make more money. I would see young people signing loans that they did not understand, paying thousands more than they needed to because nobody explained their options. And the worst part was I was part of that problem. I was trained to maximize profits, not help people get the best deal, and I literally couldn't sleep at night doing this job any longer. So I left and I became a finance broker. Now I compare 25 different lenders instead of pushing one bank's products. Everyone deserves better than bank speak and just one option. That's why I do what I do now.
So this was specifically Mazda, but you don't think every dealership does this, every manufacturer? Because in comparison to most other brands, Mazda is kind of on the cheaper side right now. Virtually no vehicle is cheap whatsoever, but at least when we're talking about something like Toyotas, they are very expensive today. But it's their job to get you to pay as much as you possibly can so they could bring in that commission check and make the dealerships even more money. They are not going to be your friends. We have a comment from you guys. I love these car payment videos. They keep me happy with my 10-year-old fully paid off Mercedes that I bought in cash. Sometimes I get angsty and wish for a newer, nicer car with the latest and greatest tech, but after you see the 4-figure monthly payments become more and more common, you start becoming a lot more grateful with the car you currently have.
What's the highest car payment you've seen?
$1,200
On what?
Suburban.
Jeff, highest monthly payment you've ever seen?
$3,700.
What kind of car?
McLaren.
Probably 1,500 so far.
And what kind of vehicle was it?
That was a ZR2 Colorado.
$2,600 a month.
What kind of vehicle?
Genesis G90.
Okay.
$3,196 a month.
Wow. That's pretty high. What kind of car was it?
It was a Corvette E-Ray, financed the whole amount.
Nice.
No money down.
About $2,300 on a Corvette.
Probably about like 2,800, $2,700 around there.
On what kind of car?
Probably a commercial truck.
Probably $2,300, $2,200 a month.
What kind of car?
One was a Dodge Dually.
$2,600 for a Genesis. God bless them. That was probably the worst one out of that entire clip. I thought the Corvette payments were just as ridiculous, especially the one who financed it all. Couldn't come up with a down payment, but they absolutely wanted that C8. And as I said before, these prices are only rising higher and higher.
The Economy tonight and our reporting on the prices you're paying for everything. Tonight here, the cost of a new car. What our reporter discovered on the car lot, the average price of a new vehicle in this country, and what's driving this. Here's Matt Rivers.
Tonight, it's never been more expensive to buy a new car. According to a report from Kelley Blue Book, the average price for a new vehicle has cracked the $50,000 mark for the first time ever.
That's shocking.
I think it's obscene.
And that's just what people paid. The average asking price, the MSRP for 2026 models, is even higher, more than $52,000. Talk about sticker shock. The study's authors writing, it was only a matter of time, especially when you consider the best-selling vehicle in America is a pickup truck from Ford that routinely costs north of $65,000. The report says the average price for a new Tesla is $54,138.
Now, I know at least that pickup trucks hold their value somewhat because they're utilitarian use. I'm not saying that it's a great value because almost all of them are wildly overpriced, but especially when we're talking about EVs and Teslas, they're taking crazy depreciation hits over the past couple years. So if you're paying $55,000 for a brand new one in 2026, it's going to be worth a fraction of that in just a couple of years. Not something that I would want to deal with whatsoever. And something that I'd like to add, it depends on what state you live in the country. But of course, it's not just the car payments, it's the insurance, the gas, the maintenance that goes along with it, and possibly a vehicle registration renewal. Most of the time, it depends on the value of your car, and it could be a ton of money, especially if you're buying something brand new. This person on screen had to pay an extra $920. Where I live in North Carolina, you have to pay a percentage of the value of your vehicle every single year to the state. Along with all the other expenses of owning a vehicle, it could get unbelievably expensive.
And how much you end up paying a month? How much you end up paying a month? Too much. What's too much?
Where we getting ready to take a picture at?
Right here.
Oh, by this car?
Yeah, by your new car. Came in for an oil change.
I know, right?
Now you left with more debt. But how much you pay a month?
Throw this tissue at you.
How much you pay a month?
$520.
There you go. Zero down. The goose egg.
$520 a month for a hopefully already pretty heavily depreciated Jeep Grand Cherokee when this person was only coming in for an oil change. I don't know the value of the car that they had initially, but they'd probably traded it in, and now most likely you're stuck in another payment cycle for what, 5, 6, 7 years possibly? And by the time those payments are finally done, that Jeep is going to be almost worthless. Stellantis has been having a real tough time over the past few years.
CarMax has to be stopped. This is a 2015 Nissan Altima S, meaning that it doesn't have a backup camera, base model, no frills, no features, and they want 12 grand for this. Check this out. Now this one's locked, I can't show you the inside, but check this out. 12 grand for a 2015 Nissan S with 126,000 miles. This thing's going to need a new transmission the moment you drive this off the lot. $308 a month for 72 months. Look at this, 72-month term without a down payment. Meaning you could put a down payment down and bring this down maybe 20 bucks, but you're still paying close to $300 a month in 2025 for a car with no backup camera, cloth seats, and a horrendous CVT. To top it off, look at this. They tried to polish the lights, but they didn't do a very good job.
And then CarMax will be shocked that it'll just sit on their lot forever. 12 grand and over 120,000 miles on a Nissan? A decade-old base model Nissan, I should add. Who's going to pay that kind of money? Nobody. I just don't understand where they're pulling these numbers. And I know some of the salesmen try to play into this to get engagement on their TikTok or possibly bring in clients, but still, I don't know why any of them are surprised that less people are buying.
So what's the biggest hiccup on why you haven't bought a car yet? If you're looking at buying a car and you haven't bought it yet, what's the biggest reason you haven't bought it yet? Tell me in the comments, maybe I can help. And follow Ramsey Sells Cars.
So this clip had 27 likes and 423 comments. Cost too much. You guys want $45,000 for a mid-sized pickup and $85,000 for a full-size. Does that answer the question? The price is not a mystery. They're all still $10,000 too high. Interest rates and MSRP is too high. $70,000 for an extended full-size SUV is absurd. I was actually going to buy a brand new F-250, but the price has surpassed the quality. Overpriced because a Ford Focus could cost up to $40,000. And if you wanted to comfortably afford the best-selling vehicle in America, you're going to have to make a lot more money than you probably think.
So does anyone else besides me think how crazy it is that the Ford F-Series is currently the #1 vehicle sold in the United States? However, most Americans are currently in debt affording this car. So let's see how much you need to make to comfortably afford a 2025 Ford F-150. So the total price of this Ford F-150 XLT came out to be right around $54,000. However, when you multiply by 7% sales tax, you get a brand new total of around $57,000. Taking the total price of the vehicle, adding 20% down, financed at 5% for a total of 60 months, you're left with a total monthly payment of around $872. So the annual insurance cost for a Ford F-150 is going to be right around $2,400 a year, so it's roughly going to be around $206 a month. The annual maintenance cost on a brand new Ford F-150 is going to be right around $788 a year, so that's roughly going to be around $65 a month if you were to budget this out. And after we add all of this together, we're left with a total monthly payment of around $1,100 a month. And if you were to multiply this by 10%, you'll find your monthly gross income, then multiply this by 12 to find your annual gross income. And you roughly should be making around $137,000 a year to be able to very comfortably afford a 2025 Ford F-150.
And with all the F-150s that you inevitably see on the road, do you think each one of them are making almost $140,000 a year? I doubt it. And we're not even talking about the F-250s or 350s from any of the other manufacturers as well. That gets wildly more expensive. So that's how we have a total of over $1.6 trillion worth of car debt in the US. Now we could go over to a Mustang segment in this video. I found a couple of them just talking about Mustangs alone. We'll roll it.
This car has been on our lot longer than I have, and I don't know why. Behind me is the 2023 Mustang GT Premium, and here's 3 reasons this car should be gone already. Reason number 1 that this car should be gone is it has just over 10,000 miles on it. That's only 5,000 miles a year. Reason number 2 this car should be gone is it's actually purple and not black. This paint color is called Purple Mischievous Metallic. Reason number 3 this car has to go. Listen to this exhaust. In all honesty, we just got this car in last night, and I just started today. But if you're watching this video, I can sell it to you for $42,991. Let me know in the comments, would you drive a purple Mustang?
$42,000? Are you out of your mind? That's what a new one costs. Trade in on Kelley Blue Book, assuming it's in very good condition, is between $35,000 and $39,000. And we all know it's most definitely not towards the high end. And seeing how your dealership has a 2.5 star rating and the internet price is already $1,000 cheaper than what you stated, I'm assuming the price of this vehicle with the sales department did not go over well after posting this video. It's almost like they're trying to get you into the dealership because then you're already taking the steps to purchase, and then they'll hit you with all of those extra hidden fees, and no wonder why they have 2.5 star rating online. But for some people, it does not matter. They're gonna wreck their finances just to afford one. Imagine not getting your dream car because you're scared of a loan. With the red Mustang on screen, when all you do is work to afford a $1,200 car payment. And again, yet another Mustang. Hopefully it's the GT, at least. But we could go over to the comments. $1,200 a month Mustang and didn't get a GT 500. Is this rage bait? The creator responds, I got a 460 credit score. I don't know if he's truthful about that. He's probably just playing into the bait. But as we've seen on this channel, people with that bad of a credit score have still tried to purchase vehicles to show off to others, no matter how bad the payments could get. Another one here, $780 a month lease, $2,000 down, first time buyer for a 2026 Tacoma. For a lease, bro, $780 for a lease. $700 on a lease is wild. Unlimited miles, tires and maintenance, etc. And then the salesman replies, bro, it's a trail hunter. I thought $700 a month loan was bad. Again, the response, this is a trail hunter, as if anybody cares. And I'm not saying that I don't like cars and that it would be nice to have a fancy vehicle, a sports car, something along the lines of that. But the things that some of these people do or try to justify for the trim level is just absolutely off the walls for me. Another comment here, worked at a Ford dealership from 99 to 2015, and one of the most important things that I learned was just because it's new doesn't make it reliable. I think you could really lump in all manufacturers in the modern day when we're talking about the lack of quality and reliability. They truly just don't make them like they used to. And now when we're talking about the maintenance for these new vehicles, especially the luxury manufacturers, you better be making a ton of money because nothing is going to be cheap.
Speaking of oil change, I just called Mercedes and them said $800 for service B. I won't be accepting any more texts this month, any more phone calls this month, unless it comes with some money. I'm sorry, that's all I got. That's all I got. Like,
It's only $800. How'd you buy a luxury car and can't handle the maintenance? People love to see that badge on the vehicle though. Everyone wants a luxury car until it comes time to get something fixed. Hit the nail right on the head there. Another comment here, I used to wonder how so many people could afford all of their new homes and 2 new cars. As I got older, I realized everyone's broke, especially when you start seeing deals like this 2024 Chevy 2500. The APR is almost 21%, $1,600 a month for 72 months. The total amount of payments will be almost $115,000 for this thing. There's no way on planet Earth that this would be worth it at all. 20% APR. Did you sell this truck to someone with a FICO score of 300? Repo guy following home, $1,500 for a used truck. There are tons of clips like this and new ways that they're trying to get more customers in when your new 2026 is only $500 a month for a Kia K5, but it's got that nice fancy red interior. For some reason, people equate that to luxury, even though it's still a Kia at the end of the day. And another example of trying to make $500 a month seem cheap. I don't know, with today's climate, I feel like a lot of people would like to have an extra $500 a month. $500 a month for car payments, Lord, in this economy, exactly what I just said. Some people are paying $800 to $1,000. I mean, it's like I'm a broken record. They're saying the exact same things over and over again, these salesmen. It's not that bad. At least it's not $1,000 or $1,200. That's what I see all the time. Another one of the tactics up on screen I've seen recently, 2026 Camry with a pink interior. So now red isn't cool enough. You want the pink interior. Who do you think they're trying to sell this to? And I guess it's working. I'll trade in my 2025 XSE right now. You're telling me I could have done this with my 86? So you're saying I should trade in my car? The creator replies, yes, I'm saying that. Go ahead, roll your negative equity into another similar vehicle just with different colored seats. Genius. It really is never ending. Me with $18,000 and then me without $18,000 with a Toyota Supra and a $1,582 monthly payment. There's no way that's your payment. That's 20% APR. I mean, I don't really hate the way the new Supra looks. I think the Mark IV is much better, and I feel most people think that way too. But for almost $2,000 a month, there's no way I would ever buy it. But we can move on to the modern tech that comes along with these wildly overpriced new vehicles.
You guys, check out the window controls on my new car. This is so cool. My old car had separate buttons for each window so I could just feel it. But then I was wasting all this time looking at the road, paying attention to where I was going. Now, if I want to roll down the back window, I can stare down on my knees and fumble around with a touchscreen the size of an almond, all while I'm traveling at 70 miles an hour. The really cool part too is sometimes it doesn't even work. Kind of keeps things exciting. So massive shout out to Volkswagen for this huge step forward in human progress.
Now, I know part of the problem with modern vehicles is that there's a ton of rules in the US. Regulations when it comes to the engine and how efficient it could be, on top of tons of different safety regulations, right? And in a way, I understand, but when it comes to this type of new tech, how is this kind of stuff even allowed? The giant screens that you have to stare at and click through several different option menus just to be able to turn on the AC, how is that safe when you're driving on the road? Same thing with the example on the windows right there. You're not paying attention for a second or two because you have to look at the touchscreen and then be able to use the windows correctly, and then you have no idea what's been happening on the road at that time. Sounds like a really easy way for people to get into way more accidents. All I want are buttons, no more screens, just buttons. Everything after this was a mistake with a lot of the knobs we've seen on older cars. Bad news for fans of the living. I really don't understand how a lot of these apparent new features even get past safety regulations. And to keep on with the modern infotainment screens, it's only a matter of time until they run ads on your 3-screen dashboard. Every time you turn on the car, you're gonna have to sit there for 30 seconds while you're just getting hammered by Coca-Cola and Red Bull ads. I know it sounds ridiculous in 2025, but I'd like to see what happens in 2035. But let's go back over to the dealership with the salesman paying ludicrous amounts of money for their vehicles that are all, of course, financed as well.
I'm Ed Howard. I've worked at this dealership for 15 years, and I'm thinking I probably spent $300,000 in cars that I purchased. Oh my God, no wonder I'm so broke.
Hi, my name's Alicia. I've been here for 13 years. I think I've spent maybe 400 grand on cars here. Yikes.
Hi, I'm Matt Liebig. I've worked here for 15 years. I think I've spent $300,000 on cars.
I'm Chris. I've been here for 8 months now. I think I've spent probably 100 grand. Ouch.
Hi, my name's Alex. I've been here for about 18 years, and I think I've probably spent somewhere between, let's just say, $500,000 to $600,000 on all my cars. That's a lot more than that.
So all the numbers we saw in this clip are life-changing amounts of money, but all that money disappears because you wanted to buy a brand new BMW over and over again. I know the MSRP was probably much lower than all of the total cost that they paid over time, so that's how much extra money they lost due to financing. Financially irresponsible final bosses. $1.3 million in 15 years is around $87,000 a year. That guy is giving his employer more money per year than my employer pays me per year. Again, all to just be in the newest model BMW year after year, instead of legitimately being able to retire years before you think. Can't say it's worth it in my opinion.
Bro, please tell me this is a joke, right? I'm just trying to figure out, how do you owe $25,000 on a Mercedes that has 170,000 miles?
When I got out of high school, I wasn't really too smart about the car finances and stuff like that. It was pretty much blindly signed. It was a 26% interest rate. I got it for CarMax. Originally, the note was like 500 something plus the CarMax gear, stuff like that. So it went up to 600. After tax, 628 or 668.
But you said you bought the car in 2021?
Yeah, 2021.
4 years later, if you bought it for 25, how you still owe 25? How much do you have down?
Credit score 580. Now I don't have anything really down. I'm like an Amazon driver.
Time being, just use the car and just be careful if they're gonna pick it up. But I mean, if that's your only mode of transportation, hustle for a year or two, get your credit up, and then when you have a 700 credit score, You climb the Amazon ladder and go get a car, a nice car. But right now, the situation is when people see luxury cars and high interest rates, they don't really think about getting it to this point.
But you getting right out of high school, your mind's set on that Mercedes that you saw at CarMax. We saw the example earlier and how bad the Nissan deal was. This Mercedes one with 170,000 miles is way worse. Spending $25,000, still owing $25,000 4 years later as an Amazon driver, but you needed that luxury badge. He kind of made it sound like it was possibly getting repoed in the future as well. I mean, the entire situation is just a mess. Who buys a Mercedes just out of high school? You have to flex though, right? What are these interest rates? The average Canadian interest rate are 5 to 10%. That would probably be with some pretty solid credit, but 580 is pretty low. Seeing these videos have convinced me I will never own a car again. I mean, if you could somehow manage, maybe if you live in a city where you work from home and the grocery store is super close, but most of the time when we're talking about the US, you almost need some sort of transportation. Now, a new vehicle that's been popping up that I'm going to see into the future, if anybody purchases, will lose a massive amount of money, is the one up on screen right now. They have a Nissan Armada Nismo version starting to show up on lots today. I personally don't really like the way it looks. Kind of just looks like a riced out vehicle, but it's from the manufacturer. And we go over to the comments. It's going to sit for 2 years. That's a cute oversized Nissan Cube. All that for a 6-second 0 to 60. Recalls coming in soon. And of course, there's consistent issues with Nissan as a whole, but the other problem is the 2026 Nissan Armada Nismo starts at an MSRP of $81,720. For a Nissan, you're paying $80,000 for a Nissan. It's going to be funny looking at it just a few years in the future. The depreciation hit is going to be unreal. And now with all the examples that you've seen on this channel, on the news, everybody's really talking about it. Many are looking at just purchasing older, reliable vehicles. 1999 Toyota Tacoma available on our lot now. And it looks like it's in pretty good shape, right? A smaller, reliable work truck, nothing fancy, but will get the job done. Then we go over to the comments. It's listed for almost $14,000 on their website. I get it, it'll probably run and last forever, but still 14 grand. It really does seem like there is no winning in this situation. But we'll finish off the video with this clip.
I'm learning the hard way that just because you can make a payment on something doesn't mean that you can afford it. For 30 years, I have lived with a mindset of if I want it, I'm going to get it. I didn't care what it affected or who it affected, if it was going to cause us to not meet one of our goals or if it was going to cause us to live paycheck to paycheck. And now I'm 48 years old. I've already lived half of my life, and I'm just now figuring out what that mindset actually cost me, which was peace, progress, and a whole lot of missed opportunities. And yeah, you know, unfortunately, I'm learning the hard way, and it has cost my family, and it has cost me. Here I am stuck in a car that I had to have 2 years ago, financed $78,000 for it. I pay $1,100 a month. I owe $57,000 on it, and they appraised it for $40,000. And we don't even own our own home yet.
That'll be a very similar story with anybody trying to buy that previous Nismo Armada, but so many people live in this type of mindset and then are surprised that they could never get ahead financially.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
Just short up $2,700 a month, but every morning I have to decide if I'm going to drive the Tahoe Premier or the M4 Competition X Drive.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
$1,342 and I drive a Silverado 3500 HD.
Hey, what kind of car do you drive and what is your car payment?
I drive a Lincoln Navigator and my car payment is $1,450.
Hey Jacob, what kind of car do you drive and what is your monthly payment?
A Chevy Silverado, it's $934.
What kind of car do you drive and what is your monthly payment?
I drive a Ram 3500. My monthly payment, $1,200.
Hey Butu, what kind of car do you drive and what are your monthly payments?
Right now I currently drive a 2025 Nissan Armada, the new body style. My current payments are $1,573 right now.
What do you drive and how much do you pay?
I drive a 2023 Kia Telluride SX X Pro and I pay $797 a month.
What do you drive and how much do you pay?
Currently buying, but it'll be probably around the high $700 range. 2025 Kia K4.
Cool.
And at the end, they showed somebody they were roping in for high $700 car payments on a Kia K4. Oh man, that doesn't include insurance either. I mean, we could talk about almost every one of them. $800 a month for the Kia, whatever trim model it was, as if anybody cares. Almost $1,600 for the new Nissan Armada. It's a Nissan. And it's basically like a badge of honor to these people how much money they could spend on depreciating vehicles, trying to make it more normal in today's society. And that's exactly what this comment section talks about, trying to normalize high car payments. I see they're trying to normalize the high interest rates as well. WTF, did he say 2,700? Reminder, these people are trying to convince you that your car payment is affordable because that $700 a month isn't nearly as bad as $2,700. $797 for a Kia is criminal, and then right after that, the $700 for a Kia K4. I honestly really feel bad for that kid. Is this an advertisement to not buy a new car? Is this supposed to make me want to buy a new car? Those payments are scary. I'll pass and keep driving my paid-for truck. We have a comment from one of you guys. This should be required viewing for every high school senior class. Coming from a high school teacher, because basically every 18-year-old guy wants some sort of nice vehicle, whether it's a big truck or a fancy car, sports car, whatever, right? Maybe they get out into the real world, start making some okay money, and immediately blow all of it on a car that's actively losing value. Another one right here, a staple on the channel, is the mom car payments.
Okay, so I've been at car dealerships all day since like 9:30 this morning. I finally found a car, got a new mom car. I'm nosy. I want to know, what do you pay for your car, especially if you drive an SUV? Because I thought $340 was a lot. That's what I was paying. Now I'm paying a little bit more. But all the dealership guys are telling me $340 is a low payment. $340 is a low payment. So what are you paying for your SUVs?
2021 King Ranch Expedition, $990 a month. Okay, dream car until the new facelift version comes out, and then that's the old one. Now I got a new dream car that I got to spend $1,000, $1,500 a month on once again. I mean, the next comment says exactly that. I love it, but now I want the brand new one. LOL. Car salesperson here. The average car payment is $750 to now $1,200 a month. I like how each time we go over this topic, every few months the salesman always just up the number a little bit. It was $600, $700, maybe $800, then it went up to $1,000, and apparently it's up to $1,200 now. $1,200 for a 2025 Jeep Wagoneer. $995, those $300 payments are long gone now. $1,472 for a 2025 Chevy Suburban. 2025 again, brand new Kia Sorento, $800. Another Kia at $800. 2023 Escalade, $1,400. Another $1,000 for a Suburban, and even $908 for a 2024 Honda Odyssey. You're hitting almost $1,000 a month payments for a minivan now. But on the contrast, I asked you guys the exact same question, and it is not nearly the same as the past comment section. Nothing, I own my car outright, $0. $0, I'm gonna keep it that way as long as possible. $300 for a 2024 Corolla, a lot cheaper than what we just saw with new vehicles, and an Odyssey that's also paid off. $0 paid cash for all 5 of the vehicles both my wife and I have had for the last 36 years. $0, $0, $0. There was a lot of comments like that, which is what I definitely like to see. But going back to the mom car issue, as soon as you have one child, you immediately need some sort of Suburban or Escalade. Just absolutely monster SUV. We have a skit here that isn't really far from the truth.
I don't want the Toyota Highlander. It's too small for my one kid. I'm thinking something a little bit bigger, but something affordable. Maybe like a Cadillac Escalade. There goes that Tahoe my wife's been talking about. Yeah, she didn't want a GMC though. She really liked the Lexus Sequoia, but the 14-inch screen that was the size of a tablet wasn't big enough for her. She didn't like it, so we're gonna look for something else. Yeah, we heard all the other brands were going to the Chinese market, so we decided to buy a Lincoln Navigator Black Label instead.
Some of the comments, we decided to go into generational debt for that Lincoln Navigator. Girl I went to high school with got an Expedition Max when she had her first child. A school bus for a single infant. It's odd that there's a very specific vehicle as soon as you have a child that everybody apparently wants. Almost none of them are reliable as well. And like I said at the beginning of the video, if you truly make a ton of money and could easily pay for these vehicles in cash, cash and all the maintenance that goes with it, then that's fine. Go buy whatever you want. But most people who are making average income are getting roped into these types of payments and then will barely live paycheck to paycheck, never getting ahead financially. And financial problems won't be the only issue that could come up with this situation. I told my husband I wanted a new car. He said, no, we don't need a new car. I don't know what no and don't need means, but here's my new car. And surprise, surprise, it's the same type of SUV. You must be so wonderful to live with. Tell your husband I wish him better luck in his next marriage. My wife came home with a brand new Audi lease that she couldn't afford. I served her a couple months later. Debt and car payments, hard pass. What the ladies always say, may this love never find me. So is one of these types of SUVs really worth your entire relationship going under? I don't think so. And while people are paying ridiculous prices for these vehicles, some don't even know the make and model of what they purchased.
Is it normal to not know the make and model of your car? Because I just booked an appointment at the mechanic and they asked what kind of car I have. And I was like, hold on. And I had to go look out the window for the make and model of my car. I've had this car since 2013. It's been 12 years and I can never remember what the make or model is. And while we're on this topic, did you guys know that you're supposed to have a physical copy of your car title, like with you? Physically, you're supposed to know where that is.
Okay, so we're going to cut that off. At least the silver lining, I'm hoping, is that because this car is 12 years old, she's not making crazy payments on it anymore. And I'm also not saying that everybody has to be a car person and know every new model that's coming out and differentiate every little thing about each vehicle. But there were some examples that we saw that people were solely purchasing vehicles because they had heated leather interiors and maybe they were red. It was a nice bright color and it looked cool. Didn't know anything about the make or model or reliability of it. It just had a couple features that they wanted, so that turned into $700 a month payments for the next several years. But we have a little two-parter on a model that I don't think we've really talked about on this channel, so we'll just roll it.
Let's see how much it is. I don't see any markup. 68,000. Yeah, it's nice and roomy though. Brand new. I got two of them. I wonder why. Well, it's 68,000.
I think it's cool looking, but seriously, $70,000 for 230 miles of range is pathetic. Have yet to see one on the road in my area. I've seen one in my life so far driving around. Since when is Volkswagen worth $70,000? I love electric cars, but wait a couple years. It'll be on sale for 250 to 300 miles and be $17,000. It's never worth it to buy an electric car new. Well, funny that you say that because the next clip up on screen probably needed an oil change, got a new car instead. And somebody actually signed on the dotted line for one of these things, and I thought the top comment was really funny. You solving mysteries, like they got the mystery machine. There's a whole bunch of the comments, oh, put it back, and then there was just a reaction of like, why would you actually purchase this? On top of the insanely high price tags we're still seeing, another video. POV left the dealership after buying a car and just realized I can't make the payments. Did it twice in the past year, and God has been making a way since, sis. What does that mean? Has God been giving you the monthly car payments? Is money just appearing out of thin air? The worst part is that they knew you couldn't. Talking about the car salesman, the creator responds, you know they did, LOL. Just make the number look good when you're there. So what is the goal here? To just drive it around and then get a car repo on your record and make any car buying process in the future exponentially worse? And you actively knew that was going to happen? This is my sign to go ahead and upgrade to that 2025 Honda Accord. Just the thought process is insane. Another one talking about God somehow fixing all of this. Man, listen, I drove off that lot in my new truck so fast. The Lord will make a way somehow. I don't know, for all the prayers that they would be answering in the entire world, I don't think that they would be responding and paying for your monthly car note. I don't know, that's just me. Me with my $1,100 car payment because I wanted Apple CarPlay, heated leather seats, and a moonroof. And it is another one of the Nissan Armadas, a Nissan. The comment section basically said the same thing, $1,100 for a Nissan, you might need to get checked out. Wow, the sales guy had a field day with you for a Nissan is utterly insane. Girl is fighting for her life in these comments. People had a lot to say about this clip, and we have all the information here on a new 2024 Ram 2500. $1,898 a month for 84 months. The interest rate is over 10%. The amount financed is $111,916. And by the end of it, they're going to be spending almost $160,000 to pay that truck off. The fact that someone would sign that is insane. Step one is to not buy a truck for $111,000. 10.6% interest, that's the problem. That's kind of low compared to some of the more insane clips that we've seen on this channel. Not saying that 10% is low overall, but it could have been even worse. Did the dealership at least use any grease? Me, because I decided to finance a vehicle for the first time ever in 2024, not fully understanding the damage of having an interest rate of 18%. There you go, almost double the last clip. Now I've paid well over $6,000 so far to this vehicle, and only $1,000 of that has actually gone to paying it off. Still have $21,000 to pay. Original price, $22,000. You know, there is a reason why they don't teach financial skills in school. Hopefully that's what these types of videos could show you and what to look out for, because I bet if I wore a suit and tie and just had a whiteboard in the background and showed you all the numbers like a lecture, people would find it very boring. But hopefully adding in these types of TikToks and more of the drama will hopefully be at least a little bit more entertaining, while you also can learn from this. I have $16,000 left on a 2019 that I got for $22,000. Didn't realize when you pay extra, you have to specify it's for the principal. I was and still am just a girl. The amount of times that I hear that excuse is unreal. Try having a 24% interest rate. My APR is 22% interest rate on a 2019 Jeep Compass. People just get raked over the coals with those Jeep Compasses, man. We have another comment from one of you guys. I'm driving my car until the wheels fall off, and then I'm putting them back on. I mean, sounds like a pretty good plan to me.
The average new car payment is $800 a month. That's insanity. Most auto loan places are able to give you the loan that you want by just extending out the term, even if the interest rate's 20, 25%. Yeah. It's scary. When you look into auto loans, they're not regulated the same way that student loans are, or with mortgages or even credit cards. Credit card reviews your income in such a way where they're not going to give you too much of a limit, but auto loans are very unregulated. They could sell these off privately without there being a rule out there that says, oh, we can't qualify you for this.
Especially when we start looking into the world of buy here, pay here lots, that could get extremely dangerous. And the amount of money that you're going to be paying, if you do end up paying it off and it doesn't get repossessed, is just not worth what you're actually buying. But some people just really want to impress others by any means possible.
We just got your application that you had sent over on that 21 Ford Raptor. I was going through it, but I see here on the notes that you had mentioned something about a repo.
A repo? That was like 2 years ago. That was on the other Raptor I had, but I'm trying to get another one.
By chance, have an idea on what your credit's looking like right now?
I have a couple collections right now, but it should be good. I think I'm sitting like at 460, 470 right now.
Oh wow, 470. I'm gonna be pretty honest with you, man. That sounds pretty hard to do on this 21 Raptor. We have it at like 64 grand, man. How much money were you planning on putting down?
I was only trying to put down 2 grand.
I'm gonna be honest, man. They're probably gonna be asking around like 40% on it down, given that you have a couple collections and the repo on your record as well.
They're gonna ask for a 40% down?
I'm just estimating. It might be even a little more depending on your credit situation.
That's crazy. You guys can't play with the numbers a bit more.
No, man. We try our best. We have lots of lenders, but when you have several collections and a repo on your credit, it's very hard to get you financing on a big ticket unit like this.
Alright, I'll see what I can do. I'll give you a call back.
Someone get this guy a Saturn. 470, bro, can't even get a Kia Optima with that. Hello, Mitsubishi, we have a customer for you. Here's a 2006 Altima. Just buy a cash car, bro, but that wouldn't impress other people. I need the new Ranger Raptor. Even though I have bills going to collection and a previous repo, clearly I can't afford it, but I need other people to think that I'm cool. Another one of the problems that I talked about for a second earlier in the video is people getting bored of their new vehicles. I got the car I want. I'm keeping it forever, and it's a new Mustang. I was excited to reach 1,000 miles considering that I had it at only 19, so yes, brand new. 6,000 miles later, I think that I want something else. Then we have a picture of another Kia. Back to low mileage. Let's see how this time goes. LOL. Just rolling that negative equity over and over again and slowly getting higher and higher car payments just because you can't be content with the vehicle that you currently have. Another comment from one of you guys, my car is paid off, my home's paid off, it's nothing fancy, but this not even being a thought in my head, that's priceless. To add on to that, I've also seen people talking about regretting their purchases, me excited to buy my dream car, which was a BMW M2, realizing that it's holding me back from achieving my lifelong goals. Invest your money, don't buy a $70,000 car. I didn't even know that M2s got all the way up to $70,000 now, but somebody who legitimately saved up and had that kind of money could have probably put that money to work and made even more for himself, and overall could have made his life a lot easier. Now, when it comes to any of the modern age vehicles and all the prices that we're seeing, you now have to add on top the monthly subscription service to be able to use features in the car that should already be priced into the trim level you're buying.
Toyota's charging us $600 a year to keep all of our functions on our 2025 Camry after we've owned it for a year. Let's go ahead and dive into what it is. Well, everything's a subscription nowadays, so it shouldn't be too surprising that cars are now wanting a subscription as well. And after a year, Toyota expires some of the vehicle functions. So what are those functions? Well, probably the biggest thing that expires after a year is remote start via the Toyota app. So you used to be able to, from anywhere, open the app and remote start your vehicle to get it cooled down. That's no longer a thing after a year. You also lose the digital key functionality, so you have to take your keys everywhere with you. You can no longer use your watch or your phone. Another big thing that expired is our navigation. Despite us buying the high-end XSE trim level with the big screen, when we tab to the navigation menu, guess what? It's now expired, and if I hit get started, all it wants to do is sell me this subscription. So how much is the subscription? Well, $15 a month is the entry-level price. If you want the app functionality with things like navigation, which I feel like we already paid for. Now, if you want additional things like Apple Music to be able to function inside the car natively, that's $25 a month. And then if you want Wi-Fi on top of that, that's an additional $25 a month. So yes, you can spend $50 a month on this Camry in subscriptions, $600 a year.
This is now currently on a Toyota Camry that's sitting at around $40,000. And to get everything out of it, you need to pay an extra $600 a year. This is still not something fancy like you bought a Mercedes or a BMW, Audi, something like that. This is still just a Toyota at the end of the day. So every car manufacturer is rolling this kind of stuff out to still squeeze out a little bit more money from you at the end of the day. Cars selling subscriptions to unlock features they already put into the car should be illegal. I agree. That's ridiculous. Charging for a remote start in 2025 is diabolical. Toyota's lost their minds. Like I said, they're not the only ones either. Tons of manufacturers are doing the same thing. And another one of the staples on this channel when we talk about cars and all the high prices and the negatives that come with it, they're not even built reliably now.
Big news for Ford, they just broke a huge record, but it's not one they're going to be bragging about. Ford just issued their 90th recall this year. That's the most by any car brand in a single year ever. And we're only halfway through 2025. Yesterday, Ford issued a recall for nearly 700,000 vehicles. And this one is kind of serious. It affects 2021 to 2024 Bronco Sport and 2020 to 2022 Escape models with the 3-cylinder engine. They're all subject to leaking fuel injectors. Apparently, repairing these issues is going to cost the company an estimated $570 million. Now, this comes just days after Ford issued another recall for nearly 850,000 vehicles for engines that could stall while driving. Now, in total, Ford has recalled over 5 million vehicles in 2025. That's more recalls than any other company has issued in a single calendar year. The previous recall record holder was GM, who had 77 recalls in the year of 2014. Keep in mind, Ford is at 90 and it's only July.
I mean, what am I even supposed to say about it anymore? It's just sad. We could just move on to this clip, somebody paying $1,500 a month for one of these pickup trucks with 150,000 miles.
Good, so I'm calling about that 2016 Chevrolet Silverado.
Got it for $55,000. I paid $1,200 a month for it. About $20K left. Insurance is about $350 a month.
Do you make a month?
I make $3,500 a month.
You said how much? $3,500 a week or a month?
A month.
You're spending almost half your income on this truck?
I had a good job at first. I worked as a software engineer, and then I got cut during budget cut. So now per month I came down a little bit.
For you is if you got $5,000 down, there's about a $9,000 discrepancy. So if you have $5,000 down, $4,000 rollover, I can definitely roll you into something a lot cheaper, like a Nissan Maxima or whatnot. $15,000 or $14,000 for the truck. It'd be less money out your pocket. You pay the difference.
Okay, so the truck went from 55,000 down to 14,000. Again, 150,000 miles. He only makes $3,500 a month while paying $1,500 for it. And another one of the stories: I had a better job, wanted to upgrade my lifestyle, get a nicer truck, and then the job market got shaky. I lost my job, and now I can't afford it. Very common situation we've been seeing recently. Now we can move over to somebody who kind of dodged a bullet, even though they didn't do any research when they wanted to purchase a vehicle, because this could have gone way worse.
I was at a car dealership, and the guy that works there comes up to me and asks me questions about what kind of car I wanted, what my budget was, and asked me if I wanted an EV or a gas car. And I said, I don't care. And I proceeded to tell him what my budget was, and we go from there. So we go outside looking for cars, and the first car that he shows me was a Fisker Ocean 3. So I go around the car looks great. It looks like a Range Rover. The inside was amazing. My asked him to pop the hood, and he said it's an EV. And then he proceeds to tell me about the range and everything, and I was like, okay, cool. But then we go to the price part, and it was like extremely cheap. Like cheap for the feature that it has, like with the design, the interior is so nice. I don't get why the cars were so cheap. So I proceed to ask him. The company went bankrupt last year. That was the catch. He said they don't run no more, so it's going to be really hard to like find spares parts for the car. So I was like, what if I get stranded? And he was like, GG's, bro.
I will say the top comment though, at least the salesman was honest. You could have found out yourself after you bought it, because we've seen that happen a lot. These car salesmen are working on commission checks. They want to do the most amount of deals with the most amount of people. That's how they make their money. A lot of them don't care if it's a very bad deal for the customer. And I don't know if you've seen on TikTok, there's a situation with one of the car salesmen that uploads videos that got a whole ton of backlash from one of these trends. You look happier. Thanks, I sold a single mom a car $10,000 over sticker. Now I've seen a ton of videos like this where it's just a car salesman kind of doing the exact same thing as this clip, just selling vehicles way higher than they're actually worth. And there was a reply from another creator basically bashing this car salesman, and it just took off, got millions and millions of views. His page ended up going private. It was on one of the news stations as well. So yeah, he's basically getting canceled because he showed what happens a lot of the times at these car dealerships. You have to do your own research before walking in. Don't let them play with the numbers without you knowing what's actually going on, because unfortunately you could be one of the next customers they're talking about in this trend. But we're going to finish off this video looking at people who just can't handle these types of car payments anymore.
The headlines say inflation is easing, which is not true because it just went back up, and jobs remain strong, but consumers are skipping car payments. Just think about that for a minute right there. Supposedly everything is good, but people are skipping car payments. Why on earth would they be doing that? And that right there alone, that opening sentence of this story, is exactly why you have to just kind of toss out all of the economic data that the Fed gives us and that the government gives us, because none of it is a real reflection of how people are living today. And it's not just people missing car payments either. Credit card delinquencies are on the rise. Student loan delinquencies are on the rise. Mortgage delinquencies are now on the rise as well.
So as we start seeing the rise in car repossessions and of course the credit card debt and people not being able to afford their mortgages anymore, I just hope that my channel could help people avoid these same situations.
What kind of car do you drive and what's your payment?
Ram 3500 dually, and it's $1,300 a month.
Wrangler 1148 a month. We got that 570S, 31. Drive a Hellcat, my monthly payment is $1,227.
What car do you drive and what's your payment?
I drive a 2024 RS e-tron GT. That one is $1,400 a month. I have a 2024 RS3. That one is $1,300 a month. I have a 2025 SQ6. That one is $740 a month. And a 2024 Q5, and that one's $609 a month.
Oh my god. What car do you drive and what's your payment?
I drive a 2024 Audi S5. My payment is $680.
Okay. Hey Pedro, what car do you drive and what's your payment?
I drive a Q7, man. Payment's $970.
Prestige luxury.
Prestige, babe.
And my name is Tristan. I drive a 24 SQ8 e-tron and my payment is $910.
So right off the bat, you could take this as face value and clearly a terrible financial decision, or it's just bait. But these people still know exactly what they're doing, throwing out absolutely ridiculous numbers. Probably don't need a 3,500 dually if you're just sitting in an office chair. I mean, somebody said they had a McLaren. I barely believe that. The other guy with over $4,000 a month in payments with a whole bunch of different Audis, even if it was for his entire family. But clearly these get attention and views, and after you see it for a long period of time, you think that that $500 or $600, $700 car payment isn't nearly as bad because it's not $1,400 a month. And especially from what a lot of people are feeling with the economy, not spending as much money, you'd probably think that I'm getting these clips from years ago. This isn't happening anymore, Zach. But the second half of that clip with the Audi dealership, I found that video 19 hours after it was uploaded. This is definitely still happening to this day.
$929.99 a month. $660 a month. $1,450 a month plus $350 a month for the roof. It's an all-metal roof. Not bad.
He is doubling his mortgage payment for 2 depreciating assets. I think a lot of people would be pretty psyched with $1,400 to $1,800 a month for their mortgage payment now. If you saw any of my previous videos, people are paying $3,000, $4,000 and still doubling your monthly payments because of those couple vehicles. And it's not surprising we see a whole bunch of videos like this. People not being able to afford it anymore.
We bought a $40,000 car that we absolutely could not afford and had to trade it in 9 months later. In 2021, we walked into a car dealership in Kansas City and we walked off the lot with a 2021 Toyota Highlander that we absolutely could not afford. We had zero business buying that car, but yet somehow they still let us walk off the lot with it. We were making decent money and getting by at that time. I had a 1-year-old and I was pregnant with my second daughter and needed a mom car. No, I didn't. Newsflash. About 6 months after that, we moved to Montana and pretty much started over our entire lives. So we couldn't afford that payment anymore. We were paying $750 a month for this car. And to put that in perspective, our mortgage in Kansas City was $850. Everything was much more expensive up here and we weren't making the same income we were making in Kansas City at first. So we decided to just go ahead and trade it in. We took the hit and learned the lesson. Honestly, I don't regret getting out of that situation.
So we have a couple of things right off the bat. The payment for a Toyota Highlander, nothing super extravagant and fancy, was still double their mortgage payment again. The other thing with the dealerships letting them walk off the lot, of course they're going to do that. Their job is to try to extract as much money out of you for their vehicle as they possibly can. They're going to get more commission, their sales are going to go up, they're going to look a lot better. So even if they were teetering on the edge of affording it or not, you're still going to get approved. Looking at some of the comments from this video is a little iffy as well. I don't know if anyone doesn't know about this, but don't ever buy a car from a dealership. Buy from Carvana or Ruby Car, which I've never heard of before. I guess it's just another one of those companies. Then there's a lot of replies to that. I've heard horror stories about Ruby Car. Did you get your registration and permanent plates before temps expired? I've also heard a whole ton of stories about Carvana, along with them possibly going bankrupt. Very weird financials they have as well. I'm bored and nosy. I want to know what mom car you drive. Same thing as the last clip. She has a 2018 Ford Explorer paying $515 a month. Right off the bat, a crazy one, 2024 RS Traverse for $1,100 a month. 2021 Wrangler that is paid off, did 0% for 36 months, but then became $860, literally about killed me. Creeping on almost $1,000 for a Wrangler. 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander paying another $1,100 a month. Best friggin' investment? And then the reply to that, is this a joke? I mean, I know Toyotas are more reliable than most other brands right now, but still $1,100 a month for still a depreciating asset doesn't seem like the best investment to me. Here's one that's pretty common right now. I wish mine was a flex, but I want to cry. The $1,378 payment on our 2023 Ram 2500 and another $500 for a 2021 Kia K5. We can't get rid of either because they're both upside down. down. Just completely screwed with negative equity, which is just a nicer way of saying in debt. 2021 BMW 228i is still $622 a month with 21% interest. That's getting into the territory of the CLA 250s. They're such small vehicles that you're just paying for the badge on the front and back of the car at the end of the day. There's nothing really special about them. Even this one, a 2025 Honda Pilot Sport, is $864 a month for a Honda. This stuff's beginning to be too much for me, but we have a comment from one of you guys who finances for 84 months. Holy crap, keeping up with the Joneses, I guess. And that is becoming increasingly more common in today's world.
Bro, when did the car market get cooked? People are getting $1,800 a month car payments for 84 months and that's normal? Like, this person is financing $102,000 and then paying $54,000 in interest over the lifetime of this car note. And again, it's 12.74% for 84 freaking months. Now, we just got the latest data on auto loan delinquencies, and you can see right here that over the past decade, auto loan delinquencies are up about double what they were 10 years ago.
60-day delinquencies, and what we're showing you here is average transaction prices, which, by the way, at more than $48,000, that's what you and I are paying at a dealership on average, almost at a record high. According to Experian, 60-day auto loan delinquencies at an all-time high of 0.99% of all open loans that they were checking. 30-day auto delinquencies also close to a record high, highest since the recession in 2008 and 2009 at 3.17%.
It's not really surprising seeing all-time highs when it comes to delinquencies in the car repo videos that I've made, because these monthly payments are absolutely insane, and everything that we've seen in this video has not included insurance. That has basically only gone up for the past several years, and with all the new tech in each one of these cars and making it more and more difficult to repair, it makes it easier for the insurance companies to just keep upping the price, because if you get into an accident and need something repaired, it's going to be more expensive now compared to any time in the past.
How is a Ford Maverick $43,000? Like, how did Ford manage to do that, right? Look at that, $43,000. I really want to know who's buying a Tremor Maverick, right? Because you're not good in the good MPG, right? Look at that, 23 combined, 23 MPG for this tiny little thing. This thing's tiny. Is that even, like, what is that, 4 feet? But 43 grand and it gets 23 MPG. When the hybrid ones get almost 38 MPG. So literally, who's going to buy the Tremor one when you want this one? But then Ford also messed up, because who's buying this one when it's almost $30,000 and they promised it was going to be a $20,000 truck when it came out?
Here's what's really crazy. If you were to buy that Bronco for $41,000 and a second Bronco for $41,000 and let's say a C5 Corvette, then if you were to take all of that together, you could actually, for the same price, purchase this Ford Bronco Raptor. Is it worth 2 Bronco bases in the C5 Corvette for the same vehicle?
The trim levels coming out now are just absolutely absurd. The crazy uptick in price for the exact same vehicle compared to the base model that still isn't cheap to begin with. Take for example the Ford Maverick that was supposed to be a $20,000 pickup truck, but it ends up being $30,000 or possibly $40,000 for the higher end version. So I'm not holding my breath with the new Slate truck that is promised again to be around $20,000, because it seems like every time an affordable vehicle is supposed to be coming out, at the end of the day when it hits the lot, it is way more expensive.
Every day I go back and forth with myself about getting a new car. I want a new car so bad, but I have been car payment free for 3 years now.
Don't buy that new car. Don't do it. Don't do it. I know it's cooler than your current car, and it has like all the bells and whistles, and it has the colored interior, and it just looks cooler, and you want to feel cooler, and you want to feel like you're it, but don't do it.
We have another clip here. Social media convinced you that your car wasn't good enough, so you got a car payment, and that's just one more nail in the coffin for your marriage and family being taken down by money stress to impress people who don't care. But I think one of the comments from this video nails it right on the head. Nobody listened to her. In parentheses, I am a car salesman. They do not care at all. They're going to make you try to feel a certain way, make you feel like you need the luxury version of whatever model you're looking at. You deserve it. You've earned it. Blah, blah, blah. They'll say anything. And I make these kinds of videos to hopefully scare some people away when they see the 4-figure marks for these cars. But still, some people get sold either way from clips like this.
Honestly, this is my favorite car in our lineup, the 25 Genesis G80. I just love how it looks. Honestly, I prefer our 4 cylinders over our 6 cylinders. It feels faster, to be honest with you. 300 horsepower. This Capri Blue, this is gorgeous. This camel interior just looks like me. You know what I mean? It's just so nice. Full 27-inch screen. It's just so comfortable. I would 100% take this over any Mercedes E-Class. Just 100%.
Sure you would, man. Just lying and saying anything for the sale at the end of the day. And one of the comments I thought was pretty funny, go see the resale value and you're not going to like it much after that. The Genesis brand as a whole's resale value is absolutely through the floor. And it's because they end up having a lot of problems. At the end of the day, it is a company owned by Hyundai. And we have a comment from one of you guys with your experience. I worked as a tech at a Genesis dealership. The GV60s were getting a new recall nearly once every month. And when you test drove any of the cars, warnings would happen all of the time, even if not needed. I was driving down the road for a test drive and I got a warning from a car in another lane driving 30 feet behind me. But it doesn't matter. They want you to pay top dollar pricing, and as soon as you drive it off the lot, there goes thousands of dollars. We have another clip from this trend. Tell me your wildest car dealership stories. Not they sold the car before I got there. I mean the really wild stuff. And the first one, during COVID, my credit score was over 750, a homeowner with 2.9% interest rate, no credit debt, and the dealer was trying to sell me a car with 18% interest rate. They wouldn't give me my license or key back unless I bought their car, so I had to call the cops, and then they tried to ruin my credit. I wanted a Nissan Juke and was already pre-approved from the bank to cover it. Went to the dealership and this guy was training a new kid and was full of himself, told the new kid in front of me that I needed a Rogue because I was too big for the Juke. The Rogue is more suited for you. The dealership took my friend's car they were trading in for a test drive, hit a deer, and totaled it. Then they didn't want to give him the money anyway. That ended with a lawsuit. These are crazy. At my old job, they hired a new finance manager, and when customers were in his office, he was making them put more down without putting it in the deal and was pocketing it and scammed almost $80,000 in 2 weeks. Here's another one, very similar story. They refused to give me my keys after I said I wasn't interested in the Kia and went to go look at Subarus. I told them I'd call the cops if they didn't give it back to me, and the cops got called. I guess they really will do anything for the sale. But if you do end up buying one of these new vehicles, especially any of the luxury stuff, this is probably what's going to happen to you at the end of the day.
So I'm calling about the Maserati that you were trying to get rid of. Break it down for me if you don't.
It is 20K upside down, you told me. I have great credit, so it's like 750. I do have money down, but obviously based on the situation I talked to you about, I would like to not put so much down if I don't have to, just because I don't know what the future looks like right now.
So you owe around $41,000. Wholesale on that car is between, like I said, that range is going to be between $20,000 to maybe 23 on the top end. So you are 20,000 upside down. Here's the problem, right? You got great credit, you got good income. I know you're trying to move. The problem is unless you put a significant amount of money down, your negative equity is going to transfer over to a different car. So then if you're buying a newer car, it's going to depreciate. That will put you in an even worse situation because typically you'll have more negative equity. So it's just like eating this consistent. It's just if you ever, any lesson you take from this, never buy a Maserati. Always lease it.
I've learned that.
Never buy a Maserati.
It's horrible. I had a Ghibli and I had this one, but the Ghibli I crashed. I got in an accident on my way back from Texas, and it was considered total because it was so expensive to fix minor little issues.
Right.
It was just scratched, but it cost more than what it was worth.
So you decided to go do it all over again? She lost $100,000 off of that tiny SUV. Some of the comments, $130,000 for a Jeep Grand Cherokee with leather, because it is a Stellantis vehicle, even though it's supposed to be special Italian luxury design, blah, blah, blah. Unless you're a millionaire, you should never buy a Maserati. They aren't reliable. Maintenance is extremely expensive, and they don't hold their value at all. The cost of fake flexing, I mean, she also said that she could barely afford it too. I mean, what am I supposed to say? Because then you go to the opposite end, what is supposed to be more of a smart decision, getting a more reliable economy car like a Honda or a Toyota. We saw the 2025 Pilot was apparently $860 a month, and then we could look at the new 4Runners.
The brand new 4Runner has a massive sales issue, and I want you guys to notice what I've been noticing on my For You page when it comes to this vehicle. All these videos came on my For You page in almost consecutive scrolls, which tells me that if there are this many salespeople and this many dealerships posting videos about them trying to sell these things, that there is an issue. No one wants them. And the problem is very simple. They're priced too high for what they are. $72,000 for a Toyota 4Runner. $66,000 for a 4Runner. You are getting above BMWs and Mercedes in the exact same general mid-size SUV category. And the other thing not helping the sales out is the engine in this thing. It's the first year that Toyota is using the 2.4 liter 4-cylinder to power this thing. So you've got a brand new engine that no one's ever seen before, plus increasing the prices on these things and making them not competitive when it comes to other vehicles in the same segment.
So you have all the luxury cars with astronomical prices, and then you're underwater virtually immediately. So you try to go to the other side and buy an economy car that's supposed to be more reliable because the American stuff is pretty iffy right now. And then it's $60,000 or $70,000 for a 4Runner. And then the Honda Pilot is basically the same thing. It's Honda's version of the 4Runner. So really nobody could afford these new vehicles, and that's why you see clips like this.
When I say everybody, I mean everybody is leasing cars now. I can't even remember when was the last time I did an actual finance deal on a new car. Now, the reason why leasing has grown in popularity is because you can put little to no money down and still have a manageable car payment. If you think about it, a lot of the cars that people want, they're $30,000 to $40,000. Financing a $30,000 to $40,000 car with $2,000 to $3,000 down, your payment's still crazy. When you lease a car, you're only paying for a portion of the vehicle, which means that you can be in a more expensive car at a lesser payment. Usually to get to a low payment, you have to put a crazy amount of money down, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 down on that new car. Also, cost of living is going up, and it's just easier to maintain a lower monthly payment. And then also, to be able to have a low monthly payment and swap out your car every 3 years is like a win-win. Yes, when you lease a car, it's like renting a car, but a lot of people don't actually care to pay a car off. They're used to having a monthly car payment every single month. Now, I don't actually think there's anything wrong with that. If you don't have a long-term plan to keep a car, leasing is probably your absolute best bet.
So I will say he's saying this because this is another car salesman, so it'll be a much better deal for him if you come into the dealership every couple of years to renew a lease and get another car payment and basically give them money for the rest of your life. But I think one of the other issues that he touched upon is that your payments will be lower with a lease, so you could get into a more expensive car, because initially he was talking about $30,000 or $40,000, which we're getting into the $40,000 to $50,000 now. But as soon as somebody sees that, oh, maybe they could do $60,000, $70,000 or $80,000 on the lease, there are a lot of people teetering on the edge just renting that vehicle now because they get to be in a Mercedes SUV. And as I've said in every one of these videos, if you truly do have that kind of money and you want to get a car every couple years and you don't actually want to own any of these things, that's completely fine. Go get a G-Wagon and then a Cullinan and then whatever other Lamborghini something, right? But a vast majority of the people doing this in any of the clips watching my video aren't that unbelievably wealthy. So this is a very easy way to just be in the rat race for the rest of your life. I was going to say losing a couple $100 a month, but probably at least $500 to $600, $700, including insurance on the vehicle. You're going to be doing that for 50, 60, 70 years of your life. Do you know how much money that'll be? It really is truly unbelievable to me. And I mean, we can look at some of the comments here. You'll own nothing and be happy. The same issue where everything becomes a subscription now. We don't actually ever own anything. You're going to rent your car forever and get a brand new one and feel good every few years. While the prices are still going to just keep going up. The next one is what I said, lease only if you're a millionaire. Leasing keeps you poor, buy a cheap car. But nobody wants to drive around in a 15-year-old Civic. You look like a poor person compared to everybody else. But then in turn, you actually stay poor, especially if you're trying to switch out cars constantly. But no matter how many times I try to beat this into people's heads, we have another comment, by the time I pay it off, I don't want it anymore. So the classic American consumerism is just keeping these dealerships alive. I mean, look at this lease.
So this actually is the real deal on a 7 Series, 740 iX drive, $1,299 due at signing, so just your first month's payment, $1,299 a month. This includes BMW loyalty and Indiana taxes and fees, but if you're in a different state or different area, we can go ahead and adjust that to account for your state tax and fees.
$1,300 a month to rent that BMW. I know it's a 7 Series, it's one of the top of the line sedans for the company. It's not the top trim though, 740 is actually on the lower end, so you get even more expensive, but you're paying $1,300 a month because if you've ever looked at any of these cars that are just a few years old, the depreciation is unbelievable with the 7 Series. So again, if you're a millionaire and you like it, this is completely fine for you, but I don't think too many people who could genuinely afford this is watching a video advertising it on TikTok. Here we have a comment, $1,299 for 3 years is $46,764. And then you mentioned the limit is only 7,500 miles a year, which is almost 23,000 miles at the end. That's a massive ripoff, spending nearly $50,000 to be able to drive only 22,000 miles. I guess that's the price for keeping up with the Joneses for some people, because you still have others thinking that this is one of the ways to show off, especially if you want to find a girlfriend or a wife. I don't know. I thought we were getting past that, but clearly that's not the case for some people.
So I'm 27, single. I live in Austin, Texas. The home prices out here are astronomical. I'm in baby step 3B. I've saved up about $50,000 for that down payment, and I have about $10,000 in an emergency fund. And my good buddy Roy has been saying for a long time, Kevin, ain't no one is going to want to date you when you're driving that old Honda Accord. You need to get you a sports car.
What? Your good buddy Roy is an idiot.
Oh, man.
I love Roy. I really do.
I do too, but Roy don't know how to pick a woman. If a woman is going to come to you because of the car you drive, you're not going to get much of a woman.
Oh, man.
That's
yeah,
a word.
I pretty much agree with you. Wisdom in a multitude of counsels. I'm going around.
Dude, I was on my
this is the
third date
question,
with
though.
my wife in a 1974 Monte Carlo, and we went. I was telling her that I had $2 to my name, and I was telling her someday I'm going to be a millionaire, and we went across the railroad tracks, and the muffler fell off my car.
But this kind of stuff is exactly what the manufacturers want you to think, especially if you're a guy, because a lot of the car stuff is mainly a guy thing. Whether it's a sports car, muscle car, big pickup truck, whatever, they're all insane prices now, and you're not going to be able to get a girlfriend. You're going to be single forever if you don't go buy a brand new Mustang. I bet there are tons of people watching this video that know somebody in their life where their vehicle becomes their entire personality. I mean, so much so that I found a user whose entire profile is to sell you replica items, fake designer stuff, whether it's the try-ons through all of her links, whatever, with hundreds of thousands of followers, making a video saying she's got a fake bag, a replica bag, but look, she's in a Porsche. It's insane what consumerism does on the brain. The top comment only makes this worse. Only smart people make smart financial decisions. As you're in either a Porsche Macan or a Cayenne, the depreciation on both of those vehicles is just as bad as we see in like the 7 Series. Maybe you can make the argument with 911s and vehicles like that, but clearly not a smart financial decision. Now we can get to the point of the video where I've seen polar opposite takes when we're talking about what's happening in the market.
The car market is quietly bankrupting Americans. The average new car payment is now over $700 a month, and that's just the payment. That's not insurance, not gas, not repairs, just the car payment. And it's not because people are buying luxury cars per se, it's because everything is just more expensive. A base model Honda Civic can easily cost over 30 grand, and a Toyota RAV4 can cost over 40 grand. And used cars aren't helping either. Supply is still really low because for a few years no one was buying new cars, so now there aren't enough older cars to go around. And then there's the interest rates where some people are getting hit with 10% or more on financing, so they end up paying $45,000 for a $30,000 car over 6 or 7 years even. And this isn't just about bad choices like many people like to say. Most people just need a car to get to work or to buy groceries or to just live their daily lives. And a lot of people can't afford to just buy a car outright. So the system is now set up to where it takes a massive amount of debt in order to actually own a vehicle, especially if you want it to be any type of reliable. So all in all, the car market is just absolutely bankrupting people. At what point do you think it's going to get to where people just stop buying cars altogether and figure out a different means of doing so?
So that's exactly what we've started to see over the past couple of months. Just tons of videos of dealerships just piled rows and rows of new vehicles, especially when we're talking about manufacturers like Jeeps. There's Grand Wagoneers that are brand new, sitting from 2023 because of everything we heard in this video. Until you see the brand new stats and news coming out for just last month.
Am I the only one that didn't buy a new car last month? Because April sales skyrocketed. According to CNBC, General Motors saw a 20% increase in sales for April of this year compared to April of last year. And they weren't alone. Ford, who marketed their employee pricing program pretty heavily, they saw a 16% year-over-year increase. Hyundai, they saw a 19% increase. Kia was up roughly 14%, and Toyota saw a 10% rise as well.
And then there are just contradictory statements all over. Weird, every dealership in my town is overflowing with new vehicles. Looks like no one's buying them. Everyone getting in before the tariffs hit. How are people affording new cars? The fear of tariffs. Let's go broke on a car real quick. It about sums it up for you. Let's not save a dime and then complain about the payment. Where are people getting money for new cars? I mean, there are many comments like that. I mean, maybe one of the reasons could possibly be co-signers, but that whole situation could go south very quickly.
I had this car for a year or so, and I co-signed with my ex-boyfriend who ended up cheating on me. And I helped him put down $8,000 on the car loan, but he didn't have good credit, and I had decent credit. And I made the deal happen, but now that we're separated, he has a car, he has the car and hasn't been making payments.
Okay.
And I'm getting affected financially. So I called you to see if there's anything you can do or what recommendations you may have for us.
Okay.
$77,000.
Okay. I would need you'd have to have the car in person in your possession, and then I can buy it from you. And with around that mileage, I mean, how much do you owe on that car, and what's your monthly payment?
I owe about $52,000, and it is $11.50 a month at 17% interest rate.
Well, that's pretty hefty.
Yeah, it is. And he told me he was going to pay it, but he hasn't. And I'm just stuck right now because it's affecting my credit, and I just don't know what to do.
I do truly enjoy making these videos once every few months for myself and you guys as well. Definitely kicks the thought out of my mind of possibly buying a new vehicle in the future. I am completely fine with my paid off Civic just running it into the ground because the amount of money that people are losing are insane. Now, I did want to end off this video with something that I found a little bit interesting that I thought might be a tell of how the car market is going. Just up on screen right now, we have a commercial for a Lamborghini, which clearly everybody knows the brand by now with all the supercars. But if we're talking about the past, they never used to do advertisements for their vehicles. It was something they didn't need to do because the people who would purchase Lamborghinis weren't sitting in front of the TV or on their phone, but it seems like they've switched it up a little bit. Some of the comments also realize this too. First Lamborghini ad I've ever seen. Since when does Lamborghini do ads? Desperate times. You know the economy is bad if Lamborghini are doing advertisements. When they said we don't do commercials because our target audience isn't sitting around watching television. I don't really know how I feel about this. If they feel the need to advertise, especially on TikTok for their supercars, hopefully that means the car market is turning and we won't see crazy high payments like we did today. But that's all I got for you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and I'll talk to you guys later.